8 teams left. We had some great matchups last week. Got a feeling it's only going to get better from here. We got your locks. We got your recaps. We got your matchups. Hit that subscribe button for us. It's nickel and dime. I know you're feeling good. That was all fun games. We had great games, great game after great
We
game.
did.
The
We did.
Bears Saints was a little bit of a snoozer, but overall, great game.
I just, man, I was going out on a limb, but I honestly think that it was more me trying to will the Bears to get a win than it was them actually wanting to win themselves, man. I wanted that game to go the certain way, but is crazy as it was, man. I'm actually glad that we get round 3. You know what I'm saying? And that we don't have to go to Lambeau. I don't know how many times we stressed that last week.
Right.
You know?
Like, that's the key part right there. Is you don't have to play Green Bay and Lambeau next. Like,
that's true. And it's not that I'm like afraid of playing Green Bay. Obviously, you see the 38-10, right? The 38-10 earlier on, which means nothing. Like, let's not forget that none of these games that have a prior matchup matter now in the playoffs. We all know that. Yeah. But going to Lambeau is a different animal in January and December than it is in October, November. You know?
No doubt. It's snowing here in Nashville right now, and I don't want to go outside. And I know it's probably about 30 degrees warmer here than it is at Lambeau.
Very true. Very true. And they go there and they, got people walking on the field with no shoes, no gloves, Aaron Rodgers throwing Hail Marys on a dot. It's just scary. It's just one of those things, man. Now watch, we talking all this trash. And Aaron Donald gonna go up there with 2 broke ribs or some rib cartilage torn out and wreck Aaron Rodgers' life. Like, he is gonna wreck his life.
Right. I guess if it's that cold, you don't feel anything. So he's got that going for him.
That's very true. You can't if he has to get the shot in the ribs before the game. If his lung gets punctured, he probably won't feel it. It'll probably be numb anyway. Probably no.
Oh God! I hope they're not borrowing the Chargers medical staff for that game.
Yeah, hopefully not. Apparently, man, talking about, like, we're just a real quick callback before we get into it. Talking about the whole collapsed lung thing like that. So apparently, Greg McElroy used to play for Alabama, was talking about the national championship game tonight. Apparently, he had the same thing happen to him, where he had to get a shot in the ribs. So apparently, before you get this procedure done, the doctors tell you, hey, there's a chance we could collapse your lung. And he, at the time, he just said it. He said it in passing, but I don't think he recognized they were talking about it. But he said that, like, the doctor's like, oh, well, you can get a collapsed lung. And he was like, oh, yeah, man, just shoot me up. And, like, the whole time I'm like, oh, man, so maybe they did tell Tyrod, and he was just like, okay, man, like, go ahead and get it done.
You never heard him speak out about it. You never heard him say anything bad. You know what I mean? Like, he took it on the chin like a football player and was like, hey, the doctor made a mistake. We all make mistakes. You know what I mean? Let's move on.
Well, and that's Drew, do you honestly expect any different from Tyrod Taylor?
Nah. No man's happy to still have a job right now, and I get it.
Right. He's and I hate this, but he is a class act. Like, that dude he is the perfect quarterback. He's just not as elite as a quarterback you would like, but, like, as far as what it takes for a character standpoint for that guy, like, he's a great quarterback. Oh yeah, but I mean, this playoff action, Drew, like this playoff action, we got what we wanted to. You just mentioned it. Indianapolis and Buffalo, the very first game, Josh Allen getting busy. It was closer than I think a lot of people expected. Drew, don't you think?
I enjoyed it, man. It was back and forth. The Colts really didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like, they had 0 turnovers. They protected the ball. They had a balanced attack. They put up 24 points against a very good defense.
Yes, a defense that has been playing. They were consistent all year, but they have been still playing well. They never really had a lapse all season, and I mean, more power to him. Tre'Davious White again coming up big.
Yep.
Just I mean, and talking about big, I think the offense wound it up, really doing what they needed to do. Josh Allen still had 324 yards. Stephon Diggs again, 128 yards. I don't think you can get any bigger than that guy does in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
He keeps
We
showing
talked
up.
about him being a big game receiver, a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And Drew, this was one thing that kind of concerns me going forward, but you got to be a little bit worried about their rushing game. We talked about it, a couple of times. They were a step it up candidate. We mentioned that they had been doing better in like sort of an update a couple of weeks ago, and now where it counted, they weren't really there. They got the victory, which really is all that matters.
Right, but did Moss come back in? I saw when he got hurt. I don't really remember seeing him after that.
No, he had 7 carries for 21 yards. That was pretty much it. Singletary only had 3. Yeah, 3 rushes for 21 yards. So Josh Allen was once again the leading rusher there, but they
can't do that.
Nah, it's especially against a Chiefs team where you would want to be balanced, cuz like do you really if want to see the Chiefs in a shootout? Is that how you want to play them?
No. If they don't run the ball, I don't think they make it past Baltimore. You know what I mean? Like, let alone this AFC juggernaut that is Kansas City. You still got to get past a very good team here. And if you're not running the ball, the cards are stacked.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll get to that game very shortly. But, Drew, you're absolutely right. And that was me jumping the gun. I mentioned the Chiefs, but they have a very, very interesting matchup. At least they do get to be home for whatever the weather's going to be. You know what I mean? Like, we'll see how that. Yeah, there's gonna be a couple of tables on the ground. Many a table will be sacrificed this weekend. So R.I.P. Phillip Rivers, though, like, he still had 309 yards. Drew, talking about lackluster rushing, though, Jonathan Taylor, less than 100 yards. They gave him good enough volume. Yeah, I think. You know.
I feel like every time I looked up, he was getting 3 yards, 2 yards.
Yeah, averaging 3.7 yards a carry, Drew. So you right on with that. What I did like, and I don't know why they went away from this, Drew, but Michael Pittman was giving those boys the business. Like, the rookie came out of the gate firing. They were doing everything that they needed to do for him. And they kind of went away from it. I mean, like, unless maybe they clamped down, maybe there was some adjustments made. I'm not sure.
Philip got tired,
but
it's okay.
Yeah, I really like what they were doing. Yeah, so Colts unfortunately fall after putting up a valiant effort, but a valiant effort should have been the least of this team's worries, but they kind of didn't show up, and when that is the Seattle Seahawks versus the Los Angeles Rams at
broke my heart,
home.
Man. Broke my heart. Yeah. Like, I didn't.
At home, no less.
I saw nothing. Like, if Seattle was a person, they would have been dead in the eyes for this game.
Yes. Yep. And they came out like that. And isn't that a team who you feel like they've always gotten up for each game? Like, that was never a question. There was never any question about what you're going to get from Seattle.
Yeah. We kept waiting for them to click back in. You know what I mean? Like, they looked sluggish. We were concerned about it towards the better half of the year. And then we're just like, nah, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. They did not figure it out.
Maybe do you think that we were giving them too much credit based on what they have done in the past?
For sure. Like, I was basing all of that on it. Like, oh, Russell will turn into Russell at some point and help. Like, just he wasn't that fix-all this year. You know what I mean? Like,
no, and he was. I just don't know what happened. Excuse me, but like, at the beginning of the season, he was in the MVP race. Drew, was he not? Like, and somewhere along the line,
good.
Yeah, somewhere along the line that changed. I don't know if it was an offensive philosophy or whatever it was, but they got to a point where they stopped doing what they stopped going where their bread was buttered in a way, because DK stopped having the long passes, the bombs.
Man, he
Lockett,
was frustrated.
he was definitely, and we got to talk about it before we give credit where credit is due. We have to talk about it. That blow up on the sideline, Drew, immediately he gets the ball afterwards, and it's a pick six. Like, whining and crying on the sideline. Apparently, did you? I didn't see this at
wide
the time,
receivers,
but
man.
I didn't think he was gonna be one of them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think so, but
is.
maybe he's starting to feel himself a little bit. But
Yeah.
The crazy thing about the play before where Darius Williams took the pick six, apparently on the sideline, as soon as they lined up in that formation, the sideline goes crazy, like they already knew what was happening, and then you have the pick six. So we got to give credit where credit is due. Darius Williams, I mean, it was like they texted him to play for the game, like, and we're gonna do it now. You know what I'm saying?
So like, I bet you can't catch it.
Right, exactly. Maybe that's what DK was mad at. That he was setting it up, but I don't know. But
that's even scarier to think that Seattle obviously ran that play enough that the team immediately knew what it was going to be. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
that's scary in itself. Like, your offense is doing that. Your offense is showing your hand before you even hike the ball.
Well, and just to your point, man, kind of building off that, like, you don't have the variation in your scheme from week to week to build on what you've been doing. Like, you just gonna leave the same play in there. Like, even if you ran it, these coaches, they're so astute that even if you ran a play in week one, they're gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're running the same formations, you gotta vary your fronts, man, or do something different out of the same formations, which Sean McVay is known to do. So.
Is
maybe
the game
not so much
passing
Seahawks.
The game passing by old Pete? So Mr. Carroll needs to call it a day.
That may be a bit much. That may be a bit much. The only reason I say that is because he's still consistently in the playoffs. That silver fox, him with those khakis looking super sexy. I don't know.
Chewing his gum.
But chewing the gum. It's the jawline that does it for me personally.
Okay. All right.
But we got to give credit where credit is due, Drew. The Rams, 2 QBs, 1 victory. You know what I mean? Still coming out with the dub. And before I let you get into it, Drew, the Rams, I'll say this before we really break it down here, but the Rams did everything that they needed to do on every other position aside from the QB position to win that football game.
Yeah, and you got to still give it to Jared Goff throwing 155 yards and a touchdown on a surgically repaired thumb. 2 weeks.
Yep.
2 weeks, my man's been out of surgery.
Yep. And he got in there and he played, and obviously this man felt like
it was not pretty.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't. But that's what I'm saying. Like,
right.
At that point, or I feel that way because he was obviously healthy enough to throw the ball. Still felt like, all right, bro, you got this. Wolford, you got this, because I'm hurting a little bit. I don't think it's good for me to play. He gets in there, gets hurt, winds up coming into the game not expecting to play with a broke thumb, and wins the game. And Seattle helped them out by not showing up, you know what I mean, or not being able to execute. But
you can't have Wilson only throw for 174 yards in a playoff game.
No. Not with that offense. And to be honest, they're rushing offense too. Yeah.
Carson only had 77 yards. But Akers had 131 with a touchdown.
Yes, sir.
He put that team on his back.
He did. And that's a guy who was injured just a couple of weeks ago on an ankle, I believe, or something like that. They ran the ball extremely well. Very few mistakes. They didn't make mistakes.
They couldn't. They had no room for error.
Exactly.
It was perfect.
It was the ultimate support. Their aggressive defense was still stout. Aaron Donald got after Russell Wilson. Jalen Ramsey continues to earn every single dollar of that contract, being superhuman. And Cooper Kupp was very clutch in a lot of situations, making clutch catches and moving the chains. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and set you up and let you run with this. Okay. Your Buccaneers won the playoff game. You won. You beat Washington.
Hey, and it feels good. It feels good. Boys got the victory. It was. I mean, I kept trying to tell these boys they would like it was not going to be a rout, Drew. I didn't think it was going to be a rout. I thought we would get the victory, but Taylor Heineke did. I mean, I'll be honest. Like it's kind of very few times that I am watching a game and rooting for somebody else on the other team. But it's such a good story. Like I was rooting for the kid, but I was like, all right, don't win though, don't win. You know what I mean? Don't win. But Drew, just to kind of right, exactly. I can't have that because then it's like immediately me hating you. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course. All those feelings.
It would live in
okay, I'm pulling for this guy. I hope he never plays again.
Right, and now it's etched in my mind if they get the W. Right, like I can't forget it. I can't forget it. But Drew, I don't know what. You go ahead and speak on this game, and then I'll give you my thoughts. How about that?
Okay.
How about that?
I mean, it's kind of unfolded how we expected on Tampa Bay's side. Big game Brady showed up, 381 yards, 2 touchdowns. He spread the love around. Mike Evans is continuing to be one of the best receivers in the game. Fournette ran the ball pretty well. So that's good to see on y'all's part.
He did. Yes, it was. And to be honest, a lot of people didn't know that Jones was going to be out, man. I mean, I guess it happened in warm-ups or something like that, but he was not on the injury report. Yeah, it was a quad.
Because he's still wearing his pads on the sideline.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it must have happened in practice or something like that, but there was no indication that he was dealing with it. And then Fournette goes in there on the very first play. I'm like, oh, that's Leonard. Why is he getting the start? And then all the news comes out, or whatever like that. But what it was is somebody asked me about this today, Drew, and I gotta be honest. Like, I think if Alex Smith starts this game, the Bucs may have run away with it in a rout because he wasn't as mobile as Heineke was.
No, Heineke prolonged so many plays. Right.
Yes, he burned the Bucs, a lot of times. And not only that, but like I honestly feel like he threw the ball down the field more than Alex Smith would have as well. You know what I mean?
With great accuracy too.
With great accuracy. Now Alex Smith is accurate, but he doesn't really take chances down the field.
No,
so
he's a 10-yard.
He presented
over the middle.
Yes, and so Heineke presented a lot of problems that the Bucs weren't ready for. There wasn't a lot of tape on them, so they weren't prepared for it. And the Bucs don't have the greatest history against backup quarterbacks, to be honest with you. But they wound up coming out with the victory. But Mike Evans, clutch again. He did not look injured, in my opinion. Like he came up limp a couple of times, but for the way he played, phenomenal. Love Mike Evans. Antonio Brown, came up big. Drew, what happened with Chris Godwin? I gotta ask you, because he's on my team and I have no idea, right? Like 4 drop passes. Chris Godwin does not drop footballs, ladies and gentlemen. Like he does. Good.
Like, is he just he kind of hadn't been the guy this year, so he kind of just wasn't he just wasn't thinking, hey, the ball's probably not coming to me, and he's like, oh, it's coming to me. Oh,
no. Well, what Chris Godwin drives this offense. I have no idea. Other people have no idea, but he dropped 4 passes. He doesn't drop any. Maybe it was playoff jitters. I'm not sure if it was or not.
That dreaded prime time.
He caught Drew exactly. He caught more passes when he came back the first game with his 2 broke fingers than he did yesterday. It's an outlier. I don't know what happened, but hopefully he comes back.
You don't want to be known as the guy that doesn't show up for big games
in the playoffs. Right, exactly. And he usually does, because this offense drives through Chris Godwin, if you did not know. So he has to be better, to be honest with you. Defense, they got to be better, Drew. Against Drew Brees, it ain't going to cut it. It's not going to cut it.
I don't think you got to worry about him running on you. You know what I mean? So that's at least a plus.
That's true. Yeah, we got to be better. The corners have to be better. Sean Murphy-Bunting still got picked on, even though he had a pick. Still, he's going to get the air of all my disdain for my team unless he gets better. It's just going to happen that way. We get Devin White back. we get Stephen
That's huge.
McClendon back. Hopefully, round 3. We'll talk about it in a minute. But round 3,
Yeah.
let's go.
All right.
That's what
Well,
it is.
what's the next game we're talking about?
So the very next game, moving on to Sunday now. Moving on to Sunday, we are going
Super
with
Wild Card Weekend.
the Super Wild Card Weekend, the rushing game to end them all against these two teams. But Baltimore, Tennessee, man, Baltimore, Tennessee. For as low scoring as the game was, Drew, tell me that this game was not very good to watch.
Oh, I loved it, man. It was a chess match on the field. It was great.
Yeah.
It was field position. It was battle of field position. It was let's go ahead and punt it here so my defense can get the ball back to us. It was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Once Lamar Jackson got that rush off, like it was a little slow. It was what it was, and then he got that rush off, and then they were just confident after that, Drew. Like they were just very, very confident. Lamar was,
and that hatred was driving him, man. That anger,
man. Yeah, talk about having a full gas tank. They was filled up on hate. I mean,
it's so funny that these two teams hate each other.
Yep. And I mean, but this is what happens though. It's the ultimate karma because like you beat them when you stomped on their logo in the middle of the field, and now, I mean, they sent you home in the playoffs, my guy. Yep. Like, what can you say to that? Nothing. Yep. You can't say anything because you're not on TV. You're home. You know what I mean? Like, so you have nothing to say. That's the end. That's the end all be all until y'all see each other again in the playoffs. Because if it's me, I'm just gonna bring that back up every time because it's
no doubt. I love that. I even saw that something before the game, that little snippet where the coaches don't even like each other. So I love that. This is becoming a big rivalry.
If the coaches don't like each other. Yeah. If the coaches don't like each other, that's it for me. Like it might be fights every game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it, man. Let's do it. I hope these teams play once a year for the next 17 years.
Oh, now that this has happened, I guarantee the NFL will probably set that up, and they're going to be good for a while too, because like the pieces aren't going anywhere. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But getting back into this game a little bit, Drew. Moving forward, Baltimore, especially against this Buffalo team, cannot have Lamar Jackson be the bulk of their rushing. I want him to be a piece of it, but 136 yards and your next highest rusher had 43 rushing yards. The disparity can't be that much between the quarterback and the running back going forward. Not even for next game, but definitely moving forward if they are to advance past this divisional round. So, what you think about it?
Yeah, no, I definitely I would like to see Ingram back. I don't know what's going on with Ingram, why he didn't play.
True. Yeah.
But I want to see Ingram and Dobbins get on it because I want Jackson to be able to throw the ball. You know what I mean? And if he's running so much, he tends to not throw the ball that much. I want to see Mark Ingram get involved. Mark Andrews.
I think they're a better team. And Mark Andrews had a couple of passes. He had 41, but he needs more. You're right, Drew. I think you hit the nail on the head there. But talking about how well Lamar Jackson rushed, we got to address this fact too. He almost had to because he got sacked 5 times, Drew, from a team that has no pass rush. You know what I mean? They haven't had a pass rush all year. So how did Tennessee get through with all people now? They did, and now maybe it's a playoff bump. I don't know what it was from Tennessee. We won't get to see next week because they're home. But it was kind of one of those things, and they only sacked Tannehill 1 time. You know what I mean? Baltimore did. So they get the win, and like we said, it doesn't matter at this point how you got it as long as you can correct the mistakes in a very short period of time because this is a bunch of 1 week championships. It is what it is. So Drew, the last point before we get out of here, I do have to address Marquise Brown finally getting unleashed though. Yeah, 109 yards, 7 receptions on 9 targets, Drew. He was efficient.
Love it.
Finally. So shout to him, bro. Shout to him.
Good. Well, also shout to the Saints. Took care of business against Chicago. In what might be Mitch Trubisky's last game as a Bear. How do you feel about this game?
I don't know. I think we need to address this tune change from old Drewby over here.
He's gone, man.
I don't
hate
know.
to say it. He needed to do something, and he played his heart out the last few games of the season, but he disappeared again this weekend against the Saints. So I just don't think. Yeah. I don't think Chicago. I think Chicago is going to move in a different direction.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Is like I just wasn't a believer in that, man. I was hopeful that the defense actually.
I think it'll be a great backup somewhere. You know what I mean? I think it'll be a fantastic backup somewhere.
Yeah, I don't by any means think Trubisky will be or should be out of the league. But I think he is definitely more backup material. And honestly, if you think about it, Drew, does he not present more problems as a backup quarterback than he does as a starter?
For sure.
Right?
If your quarterback goes out in the second half and Trubisky comes in, I'd feel good about that.
Yeah. Because like if there's not enough tape on what he's doing in a new offense, and then he gets out there and he starts rushing the ball, and they don't have any tape on him what to do in that offense, I guarantee right now, if Mitchell Trubisky comes in at any point and has to play a game next year as a backup quarterback, he's going to get a victory. Yeah. I'll say it right now.
Next year, Carolina Panthers, Deshaun Watson, Mitchell Trubisky. That's our quarterbacks.
Nah. No. No. We're not doing that. We can get him the hell out of here. We ain't getting nope. Unless it happens, then I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. But man, I'm gonna ask Drew this question. Here in a little bit. We'll talk about it. But getting back to this game, getting back to this matchup, man, Drew, you're right. He didn't do a lot. Under 200 yards, 1 touchdown ain't gonna cut it. The rushing game wasn't there. And Drew, the defense set them up for success, did they not? I mean, you hold the Saints to 21 points the whole game.
Especially with another weapon kind of showing itself in Harris, who had 83 yards. You know what I mean? Like, a new weapon for Breeze, and you still only hold him to 21 points. You got to win that game. Yeah.
Well, he's been there. It hasn't been every week. It's kind of one of those things we were talking about Kamara last week, where he may only have 60 yards. They do it in a lot of different ways. But Harris is a guy who can sneak out there, take it to the house, dangerous, dynamic play receiver, and he just decided to show up. Sean Payton decided to showcase him yesterday. So good luck with that, Bucks.
Did you catch any of this on Nickelodeon?
I saw the snippets on Twitter and stuff with the slime cam and the things that they were doing. Glad I didn't watch that broadcast, but
I'm kind of all for it, man. Like, get more kids into it. You know what I mean? Like, because tell me you did, like, when you were a kid, you kind of watched football, but you didn't watch football.
Yeah. And I think that for that aspect, for the kid aspect, I think they did a great job, and I would love to see more of it. So don't get me wrong, but as an adult, I ain't trying to watch that. But as a kid,
you want to see slime for a touchdown? Come on.
Right, yeah. And I guess Sean Payton, being a good sport, did actually get slimed after the game. So
good for him.
Honestly, and Drew, I know you can attest to this just as much as I can, but I saw the picture of him getting slimed. And my man had on some icy white Jordan 11s.
Why are you wearing those?
I don't know what you're doing. Don't touch me if I'm wearing Jordan. Like, if I have J's on my feet, don't.
I don't care how much money I have. You're not ruining those shoes.
No, not a pair of 11s. Like, if it was a pair of, what Jordans? What Jordans would I get?
I like them all.
I do.
I mean, it's just the money aspect of it for me. You know what I mean? Like, why are you just being that disrespectful to money?
I don't know, but green slime, it's going to be hard to get green slime out of the Jays, to be honest with you, even though they should rub off the patent leather, but still. All right, back to the game. I don't know, man. The Saints, the Saints, they were looking a little off. Maybe, do you think that they'll look better next week, Drew, with a little bit more time with Slant Boy being back?
Yeah, they gotta get their timing back down. They gotta get their routes back down. They gotta get their synchronicity back down.
Right.
They'll figure it out.
And hopefully they don't. But the thing is.
But I mean, there's that word again. They'll figure it out. They could go the Seattle figure it out way, or they could go the Ravens figure it out way. We don't know.
Yeah. And that's the question though. To be honest, to really ask yourself, but you figure that they will, which is a scary thing coming forward for the Bucks though, because like if this is the first week back, maybe they don't have it all together. I think that's evident by only putting up 21 points for what you're used to getting for that offense. But at the same time, we'll talk about this a little later. Maybe it's better for the Bucks because maybe they're not hitting on all cylinders. Maybe you catch them again. So a lot of aspects to look at that going forward. Alvin Kamara did have a day though, close to 100 yards on the ground. And another 2 catches. I think that New Orleans is definitely going to have a little bit more of a test, as will Tampa this week though. Drew, you got anything else on this game here?
Nah, man. Let's talk about the beating the Browns gave to Big Ben and the Steelers.
My God, Drew. My God, 100%. Like, did you foresee this game going anywhere near the way it went?
After it was like every turnover, every 3 and out at the beginning of the game, me and Laura just looked at each other like, is this for real?
I think you had to, man. I think you had to look at it that way because I don't think I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in all of the Browns fans' houses. Like, everything went right for them after everything went wrong for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had it all snowball all at one time to let them know, like, hey, man, it's going to be all right. I mean, just from the very first snap, I want to say it was like the first snap for Pittsburgh, they get a touchdown on with the botch snap. And not only that, but it's from Pouncey. Like, the guy is a Pro Bowl center.
He's automatic.
Right. If that's how it's going to go, it's just not in the cards for you. Like, I'm going to let you down easy. It's just not in the cards for you that night. No. And I would like to think, like, I'm going to bring this all back around here because I'm biased as shit. Maybe it wasn't in the cards that night against the Saints when the Bucks lost 38-3. Like, it just happens, like, sometimes when it's just not in the cards for you that night. You know what I mean? I think that's what happened to Pittsburgh. They got steamrolled.
They did.
Drew, how do you feel?
Because, I mean, Big Ben threw the ball 68 times. As a team, they only had 52 rushing yards, and Big Ben threw the ball 68 times.
That is not good for anybody. And this man coming on, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, nobody's had any issues about his elbow, arm, whatever this year, but, like, it is still a guy coming off an arm issue, and that's the reason why he was out. You know what I mean?
500
like,
yards.
I don't know. 500 yards. 500 yeah. Yards.
4 touchdowns.
I mean, but if you're throwing that way, of course you got 500 yards. I mean, just by the sheer volume of passes. You know what I mean? He completed 40. He almost completed 50 passes, my guy. Like, you know, threw 4 picks though, Ben. I mean,
yeah, that's tough,
and just
man.
Drew, it's like I just don't. The very last image I'm probably going to have of Ben Roethlisberger, if this is the last time we see him, is, of course, him sitting on the bench, like, by himself, helmet on, after the game's just over. You know what I mean? Just contemplating life. Like, hey, where do you go from here? I don't know. I hate for it to go out that way, but I'd rather, Drew, him go out this way than with another championship.
Oh, and no doubt. No doubt.
I'm being real with you.
I don't want the Steelers getting another Super Bowl. Get out of here.
Yeah. Just being real with you, man.
It's that time. It's 3 and out. What you got on first down?
Let's go. So, Drew, coming in on first down, man, I'm going all quarterback driven with my downs this week.
Me
if I can spit the words out. So, on first down, Drew, going with this quarterback driven 3 and out here, I got to ask, out of these 2 quarterbacks, which one do you see more likely playing in 2021? Is it Drew Brees or is it Phillip Rivers?
Ooh, more likely to play. I think Phillip's more likely to play because I think they're both done. I think they're both out. But I think there's like the tiniest of chances that the Colts are like one more year, and Phillip's like, all right.
Yeah. Well, I think he said that if it's not the Colts, I don't think he's playing with anybody else.
Right.
So,
yeah. So I think that's an internal question the Colts got to ask themselves is, do you want Phillip Rivers? Do you think you can win with one more year of Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, and I mean if they get a couple things right, maybe they can. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They were in the playoffs and they just lost by 3 points to a quote unquote offensive juggernaut in the Buffalo Bills, right? I mean on the road no less. So maybe one more year might be able to do it for him. I don't know, man. What you got? What you got on second down though?
Given his 306-yard performance and almost taking down Tom Brady and the Bucks,
Mm.
what kind of chance do you think Heineke has at being Washington's starting quarterback going into next year?
What percentage chance? I like the way you phrase that one. Percentage chance, I will say 35.
Ooh, go low
35%
ball. Okay.
chance. Yeah, I think that they are definitely going to look to upgrade the position. And the reason why I say 35 is even though they will look to upgrade the position, Taylor Heineke has earned the right to compete for that job. I'm sorry, he has. Like
Yep.
if they're kicking Haskins out, the spark that he gave that team, I want to see what he can do in the offseason. If he can further himself along in that offense, and then give the guy a shot in training camp, man. Like
Yeah.
quarterbacks come from all over the place. How did you know you were going to find Tony Romo, right? Like
Right.
he got his. How did you know you were going to
That's
find Tom Brady? Give the dude a chance. That's all I'm
that's
saying.
why I
Drew.
say
What you got?
50-50. I think they got to definitely find an
Okay.
upgrade. If they keep the roster the way it is now, he's got to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I can see it, and just build on other positions, and really give him
Why not?
a great shot to really showcase what he has.
Chase Young
Yeah.
signed off on him. Go for it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he did. He did. I like that too. I was pissed at the time, but like, I mean, now that we won, it's cool.
Yeah.
Now that we won, it's cool. Drew, I really like what that young man did, but and kind of furthering along why I say 35 is just that because of who he is and where he comes from, whoever they go get as another quarterback is going to come in with that cachet. And you know how teams are, man. They're going to get that quarterback in there and they're going to justify his draft status or Ron picking him over being a new guy on the roster. And Taylor's not going to get a real good shot and he's going to wind up being the backup. Even
No, I
though
can see that for sure.
I'm all for a 50-50 competition, man. Like, let the best man win. I'm sorry, but if I'm a coach, I want my guys to be like, this dude going to play the
Especially
best
after he
players.
separated his shoulder and still played for you.
Oh, yeah. He was gutting it out, Drew. And the pass rush, they weren't sacking him, but
No,
it was what it was.
they were
So,
getting to him though.
yeah. Moving along to third down, Drew. Keeping this quarterback conundrum going, and let me preface this by saying I do not want this to happen. But I thought about this going forward, but Deshaun Watson, whatever's going on with that situation, out of the three teams, I will say three teams, four teams, out of the four teams in the NFC South, I'm just thinking about this as we go along. Out of the four teams in the NFC South, all of them have quarterback situations where there's going to be a lot of flux in the next 2 years, right? You can give me that in the next 2 years?
Yep.
A lot of flux. Which team is most likely to pony up what it takes to get Deshaun Watson in the NFC South, Drew? Call it unbiased. I'm asking you to do this unbiasedly. Which team do you think will pony it up to get that man in the NFC South?
I don't think the Falcons will do it because I think they're headed towards a rebuild. So I think they're going to try to draft somebody.
Okay.
I think Sean Payton is too assured of himself to do it. I think, like he said, he's like, our quarterback's already on the roster. Like, okay, you go down with that Taysom Hill shit. I don't.
Would love to see it happen.
As much as I want it to happen, I don't really see Matt Rule pulling the trigger. So I guess that leaves if Tom Brady retired, I guess the Bucks would go after him. Do y'all have the draft picks in order to go after him?
We have, I mean, like, we talked about this before. I mean, I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but like, we have all of our draft picks right now. I think maybe like sans a fifth.
But I mean, that's not a high
like
first round pick.
Right,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? So I don't know.
Do we have the
I don't know if anybody's equipped to do it in the South.
True. Does the Panthers have the draft picks to pony up
Yeah, we got
for
the draft.
Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
do. I would
Yeah,
love to.
so I think
Don't get me wrong. If we did it tomorrow, this is something I've struggled with, and I've talked with some other Panthers fans on if we would give up CMC for Deshaun Watson, and I think I would. I think I would. I think I would give up CMC for
Would
Deshaun
you?
Watson.
Oh, I mean, the quarterback is the most important position, and I think you would be closer.
Mike Davis
you'd
did
be
fine.
quicker. Yeah, you'd be quicker getting to a Super Bowl, I think, with Deshaun Watson than you would be with Run CMC and trying to figure that whole thing out.
I don't want to see him go. I would love to see Watson and CMC on the field for Carolina.
Right.
But if that was their asking price, would you take your hatred for the Panthers out of this? If you're the Panthers GM, would you give up this year's first round and next year's first round and CMC for Deshaun Watson?
See, you had me, because that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what my compensation would start at, but I'm not giving up CMC if I'm Panthers. If I'm giving up 2 first-round picks, like, I may give up a player, but I'm not giving up 2 first-round picks
one or the other.
CMC.
I'll give you a first-rounder and CMC, or 2 first-rounders.
Well, not only that, but Drew, like, if I'm looking at it in that position, and this is me coming unbiasedly, that means I'm giving up almost, I would say, close to 4 first-round picks, because that's how much CMC is worth, as much as I hate to say that, in my opinion, because not only was he a first round pick, but he's an Pro Bowler. He's an all pro. Yeah. He brings such a, so like, that's almost like a first round pick and a half to me, along with 2 other first round picks. Hell no, I ain't giving that up. But you can get them 2 first and maybe like one of them wide receivers or something.
You know what I mean? I don't want to give up Samuel. If
we
we skated out of this, if we somehow skated out of this with our 3 wide receivers, CMC and Deshaun Watson, can't tell me nothing. I don't care if our future draft is just screwed. I don't care. Yeah. that offense is going to be fun.
That would be a fleecing if y'all did that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it is the Texans.
But hopefully...
I wish Bill O'Brien was still in charge.
Very true. Yeah, that's very true. Hopefully the new guy might be a little bit smarter, but Deshaun Watson obviously doesn't think so. So, but I guess that leaves us with 4th down, man. We finally got to it.
Yeah. I'm gonna punt on this one. Do you think the Steelers are better off without Big Ben?
Oh man, good question, Drew. Good question. At this point, knowing how they kind of went out, I think I'm ready to turn the page. Like, I think, you know what you're going to get with him, and there is a certain level that we're going to get at, or get to, rather. But I think for me, they haven't won a championship in quite some time. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least if you ask a Steelers fan. But yeah, like, let's see if we can get another quarterback. We know that's where it starts, but I think you have to start building there to get to where you want to be. And I think you kind of topped out with Ben, and you have the rest of the team in place. You really just got to get the quarterback situation right. And that's why, talking about Deshaun Watson in 3rd down, he is a movable chess piece. Like, if you put him on any roster in the league right now, does that roster get better? Does that offense get more dynamic with him there? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So,
okay, nice.
To answer your question, yes.
All right. Well, housekeeping, real quick. Got some notes. Big Ben is mum on his future. His quote is, "Now is not the time for that." When asked about it after the game.
Right.
Wolford, Cup, and Donald did leave the wild card game early. McVay is optimistic Cup and Donald will play. The QB status is unclear at the moment, he said. Bucks get back White and McClendon. Dolphins and Panthers coaching staff are coaching the 2021 Senior Bowl. So Panthers get an up-close view of all them seniors.
Hey, I was going to tell you this, so don't be surprised if at least 100% one of your picks is coming from the Senior Bowl. 100%.
Oh, no doubt. Or a lot of undrafted free agents, too.
That, too. That because of the coaching contacts that is already going to be there. Mm-hmm. Damn right. And there's been I meant to actually text you about this in the group chat earlier, but there's been plenty of great receivers, or not receivers, but just talent in general coming from the Senior Bowl, and a lot of talent that shows up there maybe not on the radar, leaves there on the radar and gets drafted. So look for the Panthers to grab somebody from there. So Panthers fans, I would pay attention to the Senior Bowl this year, and everybody that is coming in and out of there.
Yep. Peterson fired. You're fired. The Philadelphia gets rid of Peterson. He went from tanking to fired.
Yeah, Drew. I mean, he just won a Super Bowl. Is this how you saw it ending? I mean, it was a very steep decline, but is this how you saw it ending?
I thought he had at least another year.
Yeah.
Now you got to see if the new coach wants Wentz back on the field. Like, this is a whole nother game changer for Carson Wentz.
Yeah. And if that new coach even wants Jalen Hurts, you know what I'm saying?
Right. This is going to get interesting. Real quick.
It is going to get. We need to talk to Paul, see what he thinks, get his take on Peterson going. Yeah. We'll see what's up.
Dan Quinn is the rumored front runner for the Dallas defensive coordinator job, and the Browns head coach Stefanski on track to come back in this next game to coach.
Hell, at this point, they might need his ass to stay home. Right,
like you sat on the couch, you stay in that same exact position, you don't move.
Right, yeah. Don't do anything different.
Nice.
Anything.
Well, this week's Fire Unis, real quick, so we can talk about these games. Honorable mentions. I hate it. I hate them, but it looks so good. The Saints all black. I love it. Every year. The gold helmet.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of those.
You're right. If it wasn't the Saints, their uniforms would be some of the best in the league. And I'm not really a gold fan, but the way that their uniforms accent each other, it's just it's great. It's perfect. Their all whites are one of my favorites in the game.
Yeah,
just the white and gold color rushes. Yeah.
Speaking of all whites, this week's Fire Uni winner, even though they lost the game, were the Colts, and they're all whites. Look fresh, look good.
Yeah. It's Drew. I'm with you, man. It's hard to beat an icy white. You know what I mean?
Just the blue pops.
Before them jerseys get dirty.
Yeah, man.
That's what
running
I'm saying.
Out on the field, it gets you hyped.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. They look good, man. It was it's kind of like, as weird as it is. I guess now it's starting to get real. We're seeing these teams start to leave and not knowing that they're not having another game. I'm almost sad to really see the season come to an end, man, to be honest with you. It's kind of
a lot of teams we're not going to see anymore until next year.
Right, yeah. Until, later on this year. I hate to see it end, man.
Luckily, this offseason's shaping up to be one that keeps us in business with this, so we don't miss too many weeks.
Yeah, quite interesting. We definitely going to do some updates, man. But, yeah, I guess we got to talk about it, man. Let's get
in these
into
games.
The
divisional round
matchups. Yeah. It's getting down to the nitty gritty, man. We got to talk about it, man. It's finally time to get into these divisional matchups. Drew, the very first matchup, talking about how hard Lambeau is going to be a place to play. Honestly, Drew, I got to ask you right now, man. If you are the Rams, as good as that defense has been playing, are you scared to go up to Lambeau right now?
Oh, no doubt. Like, that ground's going to feel like concrete, and you're nursing all these injuries. You really want your whatever quarterback starts, you really want them taking a shot in that cold weather. Yeah.
See, I'm of the mindset that, like, as far as this is one team. It's one team we're talking about, but the defense, I think they're playing as good as anybody right now. Probably the best defense in the league right now. Yeah. And they are going to match up very well against this passing attack
Sean,
Green Bay Packers.
Tell me you are not just foaming at the mouth for Ramsey versus Adams.
Ooh, I was just about to mention it. Because I
can't wait.
Say even on their best day, that's a wash, right? Mm-hmm. For as good as Devontae Adams is, for as good as Jalen Ramsey is and has been. So where is it coming from? Deep shots to MVS, Marquez Valdez Scantling.
Tanyan's got to get
Maybe
in there.
Tanyan's got to, but
The
you got the
running backs
horses
got to
on defense
catch.
they do. And they do a lot of that too, but
Right.
the defense is so good for the Rams. They're very side to sideline based defense. They can get after you there. They can shut down the pass. They can shut down the run. This might be the marquee matchup of the week, and I don't think anybody's talking about it like that, Drew.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, man, because if you're a Rams fan, do you want Wolford at 100% or Goff at like 70%?
Man, I think at this point with Goff and then him being somewhat inconsistent, I loved what he did last week. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, if with a broken thumb in that kind of environment, I'm taking Wolf.
Slap
you know
hands.
what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm taking Wolf. Yeah, I'm taking Wolf, man. No high fives for Jared Goff. You know what I mean?
Keep that hand in your pocket, bro.
Yep, hand warmers all day.
Yep.
But I that's what I'm looking forward to, man. I think as far as how to win this game, Rams, Drew, they got to keep scoring low. They have to.
Oh yeah, this has to be a 17-14 kind of game.
Yes, yeah, and I think they can do that, especially if they get on track defensively, because their offense, I just don't know what you're going to get from their offense. It's good that Cam Akers had such a good day last week. You know what I mean? So maybe that bodes well going forward.
If he gets a touchdown,
and the rest of the running backs.
If Cam Akers gets at least one touchdown and the Rams defense accounts for a touchdown, I feel like the Rams' chances of winning this game go exponentially higher.
Tremendously. I like that. And I think maybe that's what it's going to be, and that's what I got for this game. So Drew, what we got? What game we got going up next, man?
The Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills. This is the game I had the most trouble with, and I keep going back and forth in my mind. Like, I feel like I've changed my answer on my lock sheets 3 times since we've been sitting here, because I just keep playing different scenarios in my head. Like Jackson versus Allen,
and
I'm so ready for this matchup. I kind of don't want to pick it in locks, so I can just be completely unbiased and just watch a good football game.
That's very true. I didn't even think about it from that aspect, but rushing quarterback versus rushing quarterback, and they can both pass the ball, man. I mean, and hopefully Baltimore can continue to get Hollywood Brown involved. At this point, Drew, I already know what Stephon Diggs is going to give me. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah,
I know
he'll give you 100
to the
and
table.
a touchdown.
100 and a touch. So mark it down. I need to see more from Buffalo's rushing. But honestly, both of them, Drew, we just talked about it. I need to see more from the running backs for both teams in this game, because it's in Buffalo. You don't know what you're going to expect there. The Buffalo Bills are going to have crowd there, which I think Tennessee did as well. So at least Baltimore should be used to playing in that now.
Yeah.
So I want to see both defenses step up a little bit. Baltimore's defense, to be honest with you, showed a little bit more to me this past Sunday or Saturday, whenever it was. But I want to see him get it right. Drew, what else you looking forward to in this game, man?
I think it comes down to 2 things. I think it comes down to, can Buffalo stop the run and make Jackson throw the ball?
Mm-hmm.
And can Baltimore stop the pass and make Buffalo run the ball?
Okay, so pretty much opposite game plans, but similar strategy. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
You got to cut off one and see if they can stand on the other leg. You know?
Yeah, and make them beat you where they're not strong. I mean, that's it sounds simple, but it's hard to do, man. When you're elite at what you do, you know, it's kind of a hard thing, man. But
because who's really been able to stop Baltimore's rush attack so far this year?
Not many people, or they may gear it. Like, it seems like people have come into the week trying to stop Dobbins and Lamar goes off, or they come in trying to stop Lamar and Ingram goes off. You know, it's just kind of one of those things. Or then they beat you with the pass.
Yeah.
And they, like you said last week, Drew, which I loved your point, they are finally getting back to the team that's hard to defend, and they didn't do that for a while. I don't know why they got out of it, but I'm really looking forward to it. You know what I'm looking for? And we about to preview these next 2 games, but these locks about to be something, baby. These locks about to be something. Stay tuned for this, because we about to get to it here in a minute. But game number 1, Drew, on Sunday afternoon, baby. The Cleveland Browns versus the Kansas City Chiefs, baby. Finally, your lovely wife gets to see her team and how they gonna look in the playoffs. Drew, is she excited?
She is. She's very excited. We kind of made a joke last night. The more and the more, like when the Browns started beating the Steelers, I was like, you get to play the Browns next week. And then the more and more they played, we were like, you got to play the Browns next week. Like they just kept getting better and better.
Like yeah. She starts like seeing them for like all their threats.
Because they got some weapons, man. The Browns got some weapons. Yeah. Like that two-headed monster that is those running backs is still there. So
yeah.
And the Chiefs have a little trouble with the run. So
yeah. And talking about that two-headed rushing attack, we had asked, me and you, we did this last week or whenever it was, but we asked Kareem Hunt to step his game up because the prior week he had 10 carries for 37 yards. And dynamically different this week. I mean, apparently he got the memo, and it wasn't just Nick Chubb carry. I'd love Nick Chubb. He would be my man crush every week.
Right.
If I could.
Stephon Diggs at wide receiver. Those would be my two man crushes.
Yep. Taking it from all sides, this guy. Yeah. I mean, just, I don't know, but I love some Nick Chubb, man. I want to see game being in Kansas City. I think it's going to be cold but clear as far as the weather is concerned.
It's going to be so cold.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. So good. They're both cold weather teams, so they should be used to that. So I don't think you'll get anything there. But I want to see what the Chiefs defense. I want to see if they're going to have this playoff defense. If they can continue to be stout. And Cleveland's defense obviously did the thing last night. They lacked a little bit, but Drew, them getting that win, I would actually put that less on Cleveland's defense than I would be the Steelers waking up way too late offensively and finally getting going. Right?
Yeah. That defense, but my boy MJ Stewart came to play. He got burnt that one time, but he played the rest of the game hot.
I mean, he must have got burnt just one time yesterday, but that's what got him out of Tampa is getting burnt all the time. So I'm glad to right exactly. I'm glad to see him doing this thing. Just not on my team anymore.
Yeah, I forgot, you know what I'm saying?
But shout to MJ Stewart. 2 picks in 2 weeks. We gotta give credit where credit's due. 2 picks in 2 weeks is hard to do. So good for him, man. Hopefully he can carve out a niche for himself there in Cleveland. Drew, last game of the week, I guess. Last game of the week.
Oh, is there another game?
There is one more game. There's one more game. It's round.
Should we say the dreaded primetime game?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's But I'm full disclosure here. Full disclosure. Your boy is nervous, okay? Like your boy is nervous. That's all right, fair. Like
I would feel more nervous as a Saints fan though, because they beat y'all twice. Okay. It's hard. You know the saying. It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
It is, man. It's hard to beat a team 3 times, and I think there's reasons to be confident for both teams, right? Oh, yeah. Like offensively, if I'm the Buccaneers, I'm as confident as can be. You've seen everything they're going to throw at you in the first 2 games. You have the tape on what they've been doing. And their offense hasn't been looking great. So their defense still is good. You can't deny that. But like offensively, I think what you are able to do presents some problems for them. Your rushing game has looked good. You have to get better defensively. And I think if you can do that, especially for one game, I'm confident there. But what makes me nervous is the Saints kicked our ass all year. You know what I'm saying? They kicked our ass all year. So, Drew, what do you think about round 3 coming up, man? What do you think?
I wrote down here similar teams, similar rosters, similar game plans. It's going to come down to execution, man. It's going to come down to Brady and Breeze being the maestros of the offense and just who can get it done.
Yeah. I need the Bucs to get pressure, and what's going to help is getting Devin White back off the COVID list. But I mean, it's simple. It sounds. We talked about sounding simple, but you have to pressure Breeze, and I don't give a flying shit what you did in the previous matchup, because the game plan obviously didn't work. You lost 38-3, so throw that shit out the window, okay?
Don't do that.
Get that
Don't
out
go back
of
to
here.
that game plan.
You need to come in with a fresh game plan and unleash your players. Todd Bowles, unleash your players. Throw everything at Sean Payton this week. Get him off. Get Drew Brees off his spot, and follow at Jenna Lane ESPN. The Bucks beat reporter for ESPN made a great point. That Drew Brees is just not accurate when teams play press man coverage. Drew, how many times have you heard me this season talk about the Bucks playing press man coverage? Yeah. And they getting away from that and playing this soft zone shit. Like, I don't understand. Get it out of here, man.
Yeah, Brady
get it out
of
here.
That apart. Breeze will pick that apart.
Brady will too. You know what I'm saying? You need to play press man coverage. I believe the Saints are going to do the same thing against this team. So why wouldn't we do that against them? Don't play zone coverage, man, and sit back. We got to be aggressive. And we need to get after his ass. And we need to stop Alvin Kamara. That side-to-side shit, that offense that they running, we should snuff that out. Hopefully they can get their head under them and kind of get that. But the Saints present problems, and the reason why I'm getting so animated is because they're a good team. Like, we need to get this
good team
victory, man. Like,
okay. I want to know who you think's gonna win these games, man. I'm over here hearing you talk about them. Now let's see. Let's put it down on paper. Last week you went 3-3, updating your overall record to 25-15. I myself personally went 4-2, and am now sitting at 27-13. So I got a 2-game lead again, going into the divisional round. Rams Packers.
That damn Bears game.
Yeah, the Bears.
That damn Bears game got me.
Yeah.
Rams Packers. God, that defense, man. Yeah, it's all feeling right now. It's all feeling. Yep. I'm throwing the stats out the window, man. And the feeling is that I think that the Packers will probably take it because for as low scoring as the game in, I think the Packers can make one more play if that's what it came down to than the Rams. Okay. So I'm going with the Packers, man. I'm going to Packers.
I'm going Packers too. I think Aaron Rodgers isn't going to go out to a team that barely has a quarterback right now.
Yeah. I don't think he'll succumb to that. So that gives us the next game, Drew. Baltimore at the Buffalo Bills, Drew.
This is a hard one to choose. Trouble with this one. I had so much trouble with this one. I'm going wild waiver from the beginning of the year. I'm going Baltimore Ravens in the upset, taking over the Bills.
All right.
I've been back and forth. I'm going for it.
God, this one's hard, man. This one's hard because, like, just now, I was going Baltimore, but, like, now I'm, like, just to get a game on you, I might go Buffalo at home. Oh, man. I guess I gotta make up some ground, man. So, for my heart says Baltimore. My head and my heart say Baltimore, but like I'm gonna go with the Bills just to try to get a game on, Drew. So a little
now that you said that, you probably gonna get that. You probably gonna get that game back now. I'd be okay if the Bills win. Like I said, I'm really not gonna be heartbroken whoever wins that game.
I honestly I'm going with the Bills, but I will say the way Baltimore's looking right now and they're playing aggressively, and then that swag from getting that victory over Tennessee, the way that they did it, the style points, the grittiness.
Yeah. They were looking good.
That's hard to bet against, but I'm gonna go with the Bills. So, Drew, next game, what we got, man?
Who you got in the Browns at the Chiefs?
This is a hard one to choose too. I just don't know, man. Can the Browns do it? That's the question. I'm nervous to pick it now, man. My damn legs is tingling and shit. Like
I'm not nervous. I'm going Chiefs.
You going Chiefs?
Yeah.
I want to pick the Browns, man, but like I think the Chiefs might be too much. Yeah, you're right. I'm overthinking. I'm getting froggy, man. I'm overthinking.
Don't get caught up in that Cleveland hype.
Right. Yeah, I gotta go.
Fun
to
to do.
I gotta go to Chiefs.
It's fun to do.
Yeah.
All right. Your Buccaneers and Saints.
Down to it, man. Look, man, I'm going to just look directly in the camera for this one. So I'm going with the Bucks. I don't care what my heart or my head says. If we going out swinging, baby. I'm going with the Bucks. I'm very nervous about saying that. And the only reason I'm saying that is because all this shit is behind me. That's why I'm saying that. I'm going out. I just made the decision right now that I'm going out swinging. I'm going out swinging, man. I'm going with the Bucks. I don't care. Drew, who you got in this matchup, man?
I was going to go Bucks, but just for good TV, let's go Saints. I'm going to go Saints here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, just for the people, you know what I'm saying, since we went back and forth real quick before we get out of here, Drew, why do you think the Bucks are going to win this game? Just to give a background. Why do you know?
2 words. Tom Brady.
Okay.
He hadn't given me any reason to bet against him before. I got no reason to start now. As much as I hate the man and I hate the team that he's playing for currently.
Right.
The Saints don't look in sync, and you guys do. So I'm putting down on paper. I'm going for the Saints, but my heart, my head, my sports brain is saying the Bucks will pull this out.
Right. That's good enough for me, man. I'll take that. So that's pretty much it, man. Drew, you where can they find your content at, man? Before we get out of here.
Check me out, DrewHarrisonComedy.com. For everything
that
I put out there, all in one place. Holler at me on Instagram at LaughWithHarrison, and just hit up our accounts. Hit us up on Instagram at nickel_dime_football, at Twitter nickel_dime_FB. Sean, where can they find you?
Oh man, at all of those accounts, of course, at the nickel_dime_football IG, and of course on. Oh, excuse me. I had a belch like right in the middle of that. Yeah. Come back in on that.
Sean, where can they find you?
Yeah, man, at all those accounts, of course, on Twitter and IG, like Drew just alluded to, and at the Kid Suds on Twitter. We're going to chop it up there, man. We can get into this action, and if football season's ending, you can still find us there, man, talking football all the time. So that's where it is, man.
We're still going to be talking.
Yep, for sure. So I'm out, man.
Week.
Peace, Drew.